inside the main chamber, you won't have any carvings at all except one lingam. Okay, and that lingam is usually a shiny black stone. It's not fancy. It's not humanoid. It's not fancy. It's made of just one black stone, while the rest of the temple is made usually of granite or soapstone or some other stuff like that. But the main structure is different.
And these are you question how the age of these, how old they actually are, or are you in agreement with how old these are supposed to be?
I always think they're much, much older. According to, if you look at mainstream historians, they'll be like, this is about 800 years old or 1,000 years old. But I would say this is much, much older. Okay, and look at that. Look at the main cylinder, right? And if you zoom into it, you can understand that. How did they create that kind of a perfect cylinder?
Is that stone?
Yeah, it's stone. Looks like metal, huh?
It does. Yeah,
Yeah, it's stone. And you can also put this is a cylinder, and you can immediately think like, did they use lathe technology to make the cylinder? Right? It doesn't look chiseled.
No,
right?
it would have to be a lathe, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And if you go, but actually you think this is really advanced, but if you do short temple, if you put Mahabalipuram and short temple lingam, you'll find lingams that have 16 facets. Okay. Again, 1,000, and if you do short, Mahabalipuram. Yeah, there you go.
Is the traditional explanation for how some of these cylinders were made, is it just chisels?
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, that's a miss, dude. That's about the most obvious thing in the world. Come on.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes.
Dude, no. I mean,
That's
so
what I'm saying.
those are flattened on each side, but that would have had to have been turned first, almost certainly. But certainly the round ones, the perfectly round ones, are has to be a lathe. Have we measured these to see how symmetric they are, how round they are?
We have, and we're not allowed to.
Okay.
This is part of, click on that, yeah. If you can get a zoomed in version of that, then you can appreciate how hard that must have been to build, okay? It's probably, yeah. This has got, like, if you go to the base of it, you get 16 faceted lingam, okay? And I've measured the angle between the facets, and it's perfect, man. You know, how you take a cylinder, making a cylinder is hard, but if you take a cylinder and if you make that into, 16 faceted lingam, and each angle is perfect, that's crazy. You need, that's me.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Yeah, you need, that's a long time ago, huh?
That's huge, man.
Yeah, that's broken, by the way. Yeah. So the original was taller than me. Yeah, so I've measured that, and you can see the angle between the facets if you look at that video. That angle is perfect. That means that, like, how the heck did they do that? They must have used machines to create these lingams, and of course, nobody looks at it from this angle. People are like, oh no, it's easy to. Where would you start? The lingams, and the funny part is you can literally, like, sometimes you can see your face.
Okay.
It's like a mirror.
In the polish?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So it's like so advanced. And if you see that, you can show the measurements there with the angle finder. And it's perfect. It's the same. It's like, 215 degrees or something like that between these facets. And this is, how old do you think this is, Matt?
I mean, they're saying it's 800 years, but
1,300 years old.
Okay.
By mainstream account.
Okay.
Like, historians are saying this is 1,300 years old. Okay, so you can see, and they've broken it. You can see how people were trying to, chip on it, and you can still see that that's insane, for 1,300 years old, right? So how did they make these lingams? This is evidence of advanced technology, And then we got lathe machine, and then we got pillars in a temple called Hoysaleswara Temple. Immediately, you will notice. Oh, wow. Well, that's the simplest pillar, but even that pillar, and
I mean, that's turned,
yeah.
right? That's turned on some massive lathe.
Right. Yeah. Do you know how tall these pillars are? These pillars are like, that's a rotating pillar, by the way. That pillar rotated.
But so are these have several components though, so it's not one solid piece of stone. These are stacked, I'm assuming, and then attached to each other?
For example, where that it starts to become like a cube, from that part all the way up where it just converges, that's one piece.
Wow.
Yes, that's one piece.
Wow.
That's not, yeah. But the base is different and the top part is different. So it's like a 3-part pillar, but what's in the center is all just one piece.
So you're talking 5-6 feet of just solid
No, it's like
stone.
more than 8 feet.
Is it really?
Yeah. Whatever's in the middle, that's 8 feet. Yep.
That's incredible. Yeah,
Yeah.
and nobody's measured the X and Y axis of that to see what the variance is between the dimensions.
Yeah. Part of this is we still have trouble getting permission from archaeology department and government to do because these are functional temples. This is full of people
Right.
who come and who are worshiping
Right.
every day. So we have trouble with that. But even the most I was researching this in 2017, I think, and the videos went viral about the Hoysala temple. But even the simplest pillar, the one which didn't have a lot of, the gears and stuff, even the simplest one, it actually has turn marks. It has the ribs. If you zoom in on the flat surfaces, and you can see the reflection, and you can see the lines. Yeah, you can see the lines.
Vertical lines or horizontal?
You can see the horizontal lines.
Yeah, right.
Those are the turn marks, right? If I put that in a lathe and if I
Right.
turn them,
Right.
I'm going to get these circles around, right?
Absolutely.
And that's what you see, right?
Now, the lathe existed in ancient Egypt. I mean, a very primitive lathe in like 3,300 years ago or so, right?
Really?
So yeah.
In ancient Egypt?
In ancient
Where?
Egypt, they had it's depicted on a scene on a wall of,
Wow.
but it's very primitive. It's nothing that could turn anything like this to this
What
extent.
kind of a lathe are we talking
You're
about? Are we
talking
talking about
about-
like a potter's wheel?
No, Potter's wheel goes back to 3,000 or 2700 BC-ish, I think, 2800 BC-ish. So you're talking 4,700 years. But a primitive lathe that you could operate with your hands to turn a device, whether it's a soft stone, an alabaster, or whatever. There's scenes on walls. There's glyphs of the Egyptians using very primitive, but nothing like that, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah, nothing that sophisticated.
Oh, yeah, that one, huh?
Yeah, that right.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah.
There's
you're
no
not-
like high quality pictures of this. This is already in the museum.
Yeah. So that's a bow drill in the middle that they're using. Next one down there. So they could hollow out the rocks with a bow drill and then.
So we got giants holding a lathe pillar.
Right. Exactly.
I can hear him laughing. Yeah, that's one theory.
So, but that's the explanation: chisels and just pounding on it, and that's how they made it round.
With the lingams, the general explanation is that no, this is all hand carved. This was done with chisels, and then they polished it, type of stuff, which would be impossible in my opinion.
What is the stone type on those?
We got a variety of stone. We got volcanic basalt. The lingams are usually made of volcanic basalt type of rocks, onyx. The walls are made of granite. The temple walls are mostly made of granite, soapstone. That pillar that you looked at, the lathe machine pillar, they were all made of soapstones. Soapstone is a unique type of stone. It's a little bit softer when you pull it out of the earth. Like it's a little bit softer, so it's not like very hard. It's not like granite. But I mean, like if I come to you, right? If I come to you and I give you like a tiny little thing, or like let's say 1 or 2 feet thing, and I say, can you make it into a cylinder? You could probably do it with you can just build a lathe machine, you can build a potter's wheel, but how do you turn a 9-foot rock that's gonna weigh in tons? Even today you would have to build a massive lathe machine, and archaeologists are accepting, yes, these are done using lathe technology. We just don't know what they were doing. So they've gotten that far because the pillars are there. It's like there's no way to deny that. So the pillars are there, and we're not talking about 1 or 2 pillars. We're talking about hundreds. And the finishing of that pillar, you can literally see your face in those pillars too. And yeah, that one, if you zoom in, you can literally see who was taking the picture there. And this is how do you do it with hands? They must have had advanced technology. a bunch of pillars. There are places where you'll find hundreds of lathe-turned pillars just laying down. Yeah, it's almost like they had a factory that made all these pillars, and they just go and get those pillars and put them in the temples. You know, they had like a megalithic factory. You know, this is what I'd like to think about.
Yeah.
You know?
Can we look that up? Is it?
Yeah, you can say Chennakeshava temple. You can see, yeah.
Oh, well. So they're outside.
Yes.
So this isn't a part of a former temple. This is just pillars lying around that were going to be sold to temples.
Yes.
Huh.
This is one. There's more actually. It's just a little bit. You can see that in the background. That's a temple there. But this is not. They were not building a structure over it. But you can see all these pillars, a variety of them, and you can see how these are male parts and how those are female parts. If you look on top of one of them, you'll see like a slot there. You know, and all sorts of stuff. So you can't. Yeah, there you go. Just everything stacked, right? All these pillars. So this is like a megalithic factory, just outside the temple, I think. And you can see the chiseled ones on the right. You can clearly tell some are chiseled,
right?
And you can see that the others are lathe turned, right? So they must have had like, okay, so we're going to create like hundreds and hundreds of these lathe turned pillars. They must have used some kind of megalithic lathe factory. And of course, the question is, where are the tools, right? So where are dude? You just shown all this, but where's like the ancient lathe machine? Show us one evidence of a lathe machine. There's actually, I found a remnant of an actual lathe machine in Hampi. I think this is a remnant of an ancient lathe machine.
Okay. All right. Let's check it out. So this is also.
So yeah, if you see on both sides, you see those pillars. If they mounted a cross beam between those holes, if you keep dragging, you'll see on the bottom you can see the base plate, and if you can see the machine marks there. On those holes, if they mount, I literally tried to recreate that. I mean, this is of course like maybe 8 years ago, but literally, I tried to recreate that using motors and stuff. So literally how they would do.
So that would attach, that would hold the block of stone in place, and then it would turn.
Yes.
The bottom would spin around, and it would turn it, and then the top piece of it coming down holds it into place, and then what cuts it? That's
the part. That's a tool bit that's coming from the top. You put up any stone on that thing. I think that's the stone, the cylinder, and if you just rotate it, it would make those marks. If you keep dragging it, you can see. So all you have to do is now create the rotating motion. I don't know how they did it, but this is the whole setup is still there, where there are like two pillars. There must have been something, in between them with a tool bit, and they would have played. We don't know how they did it, right? It could even be primitive technology, like they could put a couple of horses and rotate them around.
Sure.
It's fine.
Sure.
Right? Or maybe it's advanced technology.
So this here was not. It's what is it supposed to be? If they're not saying it, nobody knows.
Dude, that place, I mean, nobody even knows that. I just found that by accident.
Wow.
And when I showed it, even today, probably still lying there. Look at this, probably lying there right next to the parking lot, even now, I think.
Wow. So that's the ancient lathe. That's what they were using.
They don't accept. In fact, I'm a little bit surprised. Some Indians are like, dude, why are you saying that these are made of machines? You're like kind of insulting us. I'm like, dude, we're saying we use machines. Yeah. 2,000, 5,000 years ago, you should be proud of it, But the evidence is right there in front of us. They were doing some type of turning, right? You see that?
Yeah, so the post itself would sit on that thing and sit straight up and down on that thing, and that thing would spin. So the post itself is going to be spinning around like this, and so you would need something on the side to cut it, and then
to cut it,
to cut it, and the thing would
I
go.
See. You're saying that's a rotating thing.
Yeah,
at the bottom. I see. Okay.
Yeah, so the bottom would be rotating, and then you would have some tool that would come in from the left or the right that would cut it, and as long as it's rotating, it's going to make a perfect circle around it. So
yes.
That's fascinating, man. That's
Yeah.
really cool. You may have found the ancient
I
ancient
found
way.
it 8 years ago. Nobody cares,
That's
man.
hilarious.
Nobody like, no.
That's hilarious. They're still like, nope, chisels.
Well, but,
Just
I mean,
chisels.
what would you do, right? Are you going to go back and change all the history books? Like, this is the problem.
Right.
And this is not just what history or archaeology. This is what problem with, like, who was this guy? Maxwell, I think. This is this physicist who was saying that when we come up with a new theory, we literally have to wait for all the old people to die.
Right.
So the new theory gets accepted.
Yeah.
You know, because whenever you come with a new, you heard of Harvey? I think his name is William Harvey. A great doctor. This is a guy who literally found out that the human heart pumps blood. But it took them 20, 30 years to accept it. All the doctors just called him a pseudoscientist because, you know, and this guy went to great lengths to prove it. He literally found a guy who was dying in an accident, and he put them in a royal court, and to show that the heart was pumping out blood, and they still didn't accept it because and the main reason is it's incentive cost bias. You know, you grew up reading all the old texts, and you're practicing it. And you're treating your patients with it, right? With the old text. But now this guy has come out, and this guy is changing. He's coming up with something new. So what do you do with your profession?
Right.
You know, it's like so you put all these barcodes in your store, and now I've come out and I come up with like a new technology and say you don't need barcodes, you need this. Your immediate reaction would be like, what do I do with the barcodes? You know, I put so much money and time into it. You don't want to change your mind.
Right.